Only essential services are allowed in this country right now. Well, lucky for you, podcasting is an essential service. Absolutely essential when Earth is shutting down.
I'm sorry, Earth is closed today.
So before society crashes so badly that the internet explodes, I wanted to share a lot of good things going on right now related to the virus that you'll probably never hear from the media. Because if you watch the news, you're pretty much bound to only hear bad news. It seems almost like they just want to show you stuff like,
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!
sometimes it's almost like the media wants bad stuff to happen. It's almost like they want an excuse for clicks and high ratings and a reason to make President Trump look bad. They can pretty much take any situation and convince you that it's worse than it actually is.
Bring out your dead! Here's one. Ninepence. I'm not dead.
What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
I'm not dead. Here. He says he's not dead.
Yes, he is.
I'm not. He isn't.
Well, he will be soon. He's very ill.
I'm getting better.
No, you're not. You'll be stone dead in a moment.
So let's take a look at a lot of the good stuff that's going on amidst all the bad on this episode of Jake in a Box Podcast. So to be honest, personally, I've got a lot of mixed feelings about this lockdown. Like the most frustrating thing for me is all the things that have been canceled. Sunday church services, Bible quizzing every week, the auction I was supposed to auctioneer at, the Bible quizzing world finals in Chicago, my church's mission trip to Puerto Rico, my work trip to Germany. Das ist nicht bueno, señor.
What you just said, that's gobbledygook.
But like just on a general day-to-day basis, I'm honestly kind of loving this. Like there's just so much more time to relax. No running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I get to work from home, I get to sleep in, I don't have to get dressed in the morning. Though honestly what I wear around the house is literally the same thing as what I wear to work.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Like, I know hardcore extroverts are just dying right now, but for people like me, this chill time, oh, it's so nice. I mean, I do still have some stuff going on because I've got work, for one thing, and I've also been helping my church put their services online for the first time ever. So the pastors and the music leader, they kind of all record all of their parts separately, and then I get to use my video editing skills, most of which I got from Jake in a Box Podcasts, to put it all together and then put it on their website and on YouTube. So if you don't already have an online church, check us out at stpaulnorthville.org. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find a link to our videos. Or if you prefer, go check out your local church's website. But either way, you can still attend church, even though the government has basically grounded you and sent you to your room.
Go to your room! I'm already in my room!
Okay, so for today's episode, I want to run through some of the things that are going on and to show you the good side of it that you often aren't going to get from the media. And most of this stuff is stuff that I've been hearing from doctors and epidemiologists and other kinds of medical experts. So I'll kind of start with the negative thing that we've been seeing a lot, and then I'll kind of show you the positive side that you're almost never going to get from the media. Okay, it's okay. I'm going to get through this one. I'm sure I'll make another episode or two on the political side of things, but for now I'm going to focus on the good news. So just to be 100% clear up front, I'm not saying that we shouldn't take this seriously because we absolutely should take it seriously. I'm not trying to downplay anything serious that's going on. All I'm trying to do is show you the positive side of a lot of things that are going on, even amidst this actual problem.
We've got a real, actual problem here.
I'll say...
Okay, first let's talk about some of the broader stuff in the country. If you turn on the news even just for 10 seconds, you'll see that the number of confirmed cases is skyrocketing right now. And it'll probably keep going up pretty quickly. In part, that is because the virus is spreading in the United States. But it's also because the United States has ramped up its testing. We're testing more people in terms of quantity, and we're also getting to the point where our tests that used to take 48 hours are now taking like 5 minutes. So we're starting to set up things like drive-by testing. And that's all very good stuff. So the point is, over the next couple weeks, you'll be seeing the number of cases go up and up and up pretty quickly. But keep in mind, this is the number of confirmed cases that are going up. Meaning there are a lot of people who have had or do have the disease that we didn't know about. Now, obviously, we don't want to find out that the disease has hit more people than we think. But at the same time, if that's what's going on, we want to find out about it. What this increased testing is going to allow us to do is find out where the disease is at. It allows us to target it more closely and then quarantine the specific people who need to be quarantined, who otherwise might not have found out that they had the disease because they weren't going to be tested. That's going to help slow the spread of the virus a ton. So the number of cases is going to shoot up, but a lot of that is going to be because we're finding out the cases that are already there. So the numbers will seem like it's getting way worse really quickly, but this is the way we find the disease and kill it.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Alright, second of all, kind of going along with this, the death rates seem pretty high. It's still about 3% worldwide, as I talked about in the last episode. However, there's a couple things the media probably won't tell you about that number.
Obi-Wan never told you.
First of all, it's less than 1.5% in the United States. Because we were actually one of the most prepared countries in the whole world. So regardless of the fact that a lot of people are getting the disease, a lot of people are recovering. Also, like I said, as testing ramps up, we're going to find a lot more people who had the disease who didn't even know it. There are a lot of people who have coronavirus and they aren't even giving off any symptoms. Or their symptoms are so small that they think they just have the regular flu or something. So as we find out these people who have coronavirus and don't even know they have it, the number of people who officially survive coronavirus is going to go up. Also, we haven't developed an antibody test yet, which tells us people who have had the virus and then recovered from it and we just never even knew. So again, that's even more survivors to add to the data. And they haven't even finished developing the treatment for this yet. So obviously once they finish developing that treatment, again, the number of people who survive is just going to keep going up. Not to mention that a lot of medical experts are suspecting that the severity of the virus and maybe even its contagiousness will probably go down as we hit that really nice warm summer weather.
Winter's a good time to stay in and cuddle, but put me in summer and I'll be a happy snowman.
So as we get more accurate data over the next couple of weeks on who has or has had the virus, that 98.5% survival rate in the United States is going to go up to what, 99% or 99.5% if we include all the people who never knew they had it or have it right now and don't know that they have it because they're not giving off any symptoms. And again, as we build vaccines and treatments for this, that number is going to keep going up.
It's high.
Let's get going.
It's very high.
It seemed almost like when we started and the medical experts in the White House were giving us models for how many people they suspected would die from this. It started as some pretty high numbers, sometimes even in the millions. But part of the problem was that we just didn't have much data. We didn't know a lot about the virus. So it seems like as more and more data comes out and we learn more about it, those same models that try to predict the future of the virus give us numbers that are lower and lower and lower for the number of people who are going to catch it and the number of people who are going to die from it. We literally started in the millions and now we're down to the hundreds of thousands. Again, I understand that number is really high, but the point is the more we learn about it, the better we are at handling it and making that number go lower. So I know it looks bad if you just look at the growing numbers on the surface, but based on everything I've shared, which comes from medical experts, the number of people who survive this is going to keep getting better and better over time.
And because they're going to get better. Much better.
Okay, so that's a lot of the broader stuff going on throughout the country. A lot of the damage that people are feeling right now is not necessarily the health impacts of the virus, but the economic impacts. Record numbers of people have lost their jobs and are out of work right now. The economy is certainly taking a really big hit right now. People are comparing this to the Great Depression and saying it might even be worse. But a lot of economic experts are saying this is not like the Great Depression. What they mean is that there's a very specific external cause that's resulting in all these businesses shutting down and people losing their jobs, meaning the virus. Unlike the Great Depression, where there were a lot of internal issues in the economy that resulted in lots of people going out of business and losing their jobs for that reason. But most people aren't going out of business right now, they're just shutting down their business. In other words, once we get to the point where we've got a better handle on this virus and we can kind of start to open our economy back up, a very large amount of people who have lost their jobs will be able to get their jobs back or be able to find a new job because businesses will be opening back up. Like, I completely understand it's not going to be perfect for everybody, but the point is the economic situation is very different than it was in the Great Depression, and they predict that we're going to have a pretty big jump in the economy once we open it back up, rather than being in this slum that we have a hard time recovering from. We'll all be back at school and work, and we'll just be begging to get our free time at home back.
Can I go home now?
And in the very near short term, the US government is working on sending checks of up to $1,200 to individuals, plus an extra $500 per kid in some cases. And they're looking to increase the amount of people get if they're unemployed. Now, I totally 100% agree. This is not the best economic solution, but the point is that that can be the extra bit of help that a lot of people need right now. So for those of you who are blessed like me and you're able to keep your income coming in, either because you're working from home or you're a part of some essential service, I highly encourage you to #pass the check. Like I will be doing. If you can afford it and you don't need that money that the government is giving to you, hand it off to a friend or to some family member who needs it more than you. The government isn't capable of figuring out who exactly needs the money and who doesn't. So I encourage you to pass on that check to a charity that's doing some good work for people who need relief. Or pass it along to your church that's helping out the community. Or to give it to some individual close to you that you know needs it. I think there's a lot of good that can come from this little amount of money that we're getting if we ourselves spread it out to those who actually need it. Because there are a lot of individuals and churches and organizations out there who are trying to provide for people's needs in times like this. So let's try to get through this together and to help each other through this. Especially if we #pass the check to help each other out.
Shut up and take my money.
Okay, so on a much lighter note, I know it really stinks for a lot of people who are kind of just stuck at home right now, especially when you're so used to a daily routine where you're going to school or work and hanging out with friends and stuff. Well, you can just sit around all day and complain about how bored you are.
Getting kind of bored.
Or you can try to make the most of it. Like, this is a really good chance to build up some good habits that last past the pandemic. Start running or biking or finding some other way to exercise. Set aside 20 or 30 minutes each day to read scripture. Even just little devotions by yourself or with your family can go a long way. Get stuff done around the house that you didn't have time to do for the last couple years. Watch online services that are posted by a local church, either staying in the habit of attending church or starting to build up that habit. Or, just binge watch all the Star Wars and Marvel movies.
Loser. Hey, I've heard this call before. I'll bet you have.
There's also things you can do to help those in your community. Reach out to your church or another local group to see how you can get connected to bringing food to people and bringing other supplies to people who need it. Or maybe offer to do a grocery store run for somebody who's kind of scared to leave the house, or maybe somebody who just financially doesn't think they can afford it. Or you can get a Nintendo Switch and play Super Smash Bros. So that you can play with me when I'm bored. I could probably fit you into my schedule, but I'm pretty popular.
But, that's because I was, extremely popular.
Is that why you still live with your grandma? And refer to yourself as the Toadster? And go pew 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 all day?
And lastly, for those of us who are a part of a church community, I totally understand. It really stinks not being a part of that community right now. But lots of churches, like my church at St. Paul, are figuring out how to get their services online and sometimes even Bible studies. But just be patient with your church, especially if it's my church, as a lot of churches are trying to figure this out for the first time and they didn't exactly have a lot of time to prepare. Like, they're still trying to figure out how to, pull this thing together.
What are you talking about? You are Elastigirl! Pull yourself together!
And look, this isn't a time where we can't do ministry anymore. The ministry that we're doing might just be a little different than what it was before. I know I said I'd leave politics out of it, but I just wanted to share this one thing. Mike Lindell, who's the founder of the successful MyPillow, he had a few moments to talk about how he's contributing at one of Trump's coronavirus task force briefings. He's dedicated 75% of his manufacturing to developing tens of thousands of medical masks every day. Oh, and he happens to be a strong Christian who has a really cool story about how he was brought out of alcohol and drug addiction after he came to put his faith and trust in God. So he took this chance to share his thoughts on how our faith relates to this pandemic that's going on. Check it out.
MyPillow has designated some of its call center to help U.S. companies navigate the many issues that resulted from this pandemic. We've dedicated 75% of my manufacturing to produce cotton face masks. In 3 days, I was up to 10,000 a day. By Friday, I want to be up to 50,000 a day. God had been taken out of our schools and lives. A nation had turned its back on God. And I encourage you to use this time at home to get back in the Word, read our Bibles, and spend time with our families. Our president gave us so much hope where just a few short months ago, we had the best economy, the lowest unemployment, and wages going up. It was amazing. With our great president, vice president, and this administration, and all the great people in this country praying daily, we will get through this and get back to a place that's stronger and safer than ever.
I know we don't all have podiums at the White House or manufacturing facilities, but a time like this is certainly not a time to hold back from ministry. But it's a very great time to reach out to people like I've been saying. So take this as an opportunity to reach out to those around you. Put your faith in action. Go help your church reach out to the community. Go help your church put together those online services. Go shopping for your friend or neighbor who needs it. Hashtag pass the check to whoever needs it. There's lots of ways that you can continue ministry right now. Especially since you no longer have that excuse of being way too busy.
I'm busy, dreadfully busy. You've no idea what I have to do.
Okay, so overall, I understand there's a lot of crap going on right now. None of it's fun to deal with. But my point is just, don't let the media scare you, because there's always a positive side to it that they're not going to share with you. They want to share with you what keeps you scared, so you'll keep watching. Funny how that works. But they can't fool us, because we've learned our lesson.
You know what they say. Fool me once, strike one. But fool me twice, strike three.
Like I said, I know the situation isn't perfect, but we'll make it through, and I'm confident it'll be better than these worst case scenarios that we're all making up in our heads. We've all just got to stick together and stay close. Okay, but not actually literally. You might have to socially distance from your friends and family right now, but you never have to socially distance from God. Because, I'm pretty sure God can't catch the virus.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
No, I'm being serious.
All right, that's what I got for today. And don't forget, you can email me with comments or questions at jakeinaboxpodcast@gmail.com. Keep yourself occupied at home and don't go totally crazy. If you're bored, we can play Super Smash Bros. Online or something. All right, well, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay classy. Hey, hope you liked the show on Jake in a Box Podcast. If you liked this episode, make sure you click the subscribe button below so that you never miss another video of Jake in a Box Podcasts.